Alright, so today we are going to be doing something a bit different than usual. Today I'm going to be finishing off my Nebula camo grind. Yeah, I know, Nebula camo grind still with just two, with just like this. We're going to be finishing off the Nebula camo grind. I know I'm leaving it very close to the last minute. We literally have Black Ops 7 coming out in 4 days. And we have 3 camos left to do. So we've got the PPSH, we've got the Ladra SMG, and the TR2 tactical rifle, and then we'll be on to Nebula. And we will be doing 2 guns Nebula in this video, and I can't think of 2 better guns than my initial favorite, which was the Tanto, and the best gun in the game, which is of course the Maelstrom. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and this is also going to act as a unscripted review of the entirety of the Black Ops 6 package. So we're going to talk about anything from campaign to multiplayer to zombies to even shitty Warzone, but probably not shitty Warzone because I hate Warzone. But if we do mention Warzone, it will be here. I think I've played 4 hours of Warzone over the entire Black Ops 6 year. So I'll tell you how much of a fan of Warzone I am. So yeah, we just have a couple more afterlives to get, which is just the rapid kills. So we'll probably have to start the game a couple of times. And I think there's nothing better to start off this review than talking about the campaign in this game. So the Black Ops 6 campaign started off really, really strong. So yeah, the campaign started off incredibly strong. We had great gameplay, a really interesting story setup from all the trailers, and there was a lot really going right for this campaign. We had good characters with Woods, and Adler, my favorite modern Call of Duty character, was back again for another adventure. And what did they do with it? Very little, very little. The campaign was kind of a nothing burger. Now, what I'm assuming is the campaign is technically a part 1 and a part 2, and Black Ops 7 is going to maybe pick up some of that slack. But even at that, I don't think it's fair to ask for people to buy the full price game and say, oh, if you want to see what relevance the Cradle has to the Black Ops universe overall, check out next year's installment of Black Ops 7. So yeah, my biggest issue is the fact that we do, of course, have that second game, and it kind of makes that Black Ops 6 campaign feel kind of irrelevant. The characters didn't really do anything. Like, we had your man in it, the blonde guy, and outside of a couple of missions, he doesn't do anything. He's not part of the multiplayer storyline at all. He's not part of the Warzone storyline. He doesn't really do anything, and I think he just has that one important scene in one mission, and it's unfortunate because he's a cool character, and I like talking to him in the safe house, which we'll get to in a little bit. But it is a pity what happened there, like, because they set up a lot of really interesting and unique and complex characters, and then they just did not stick that landing, unfortunately. And yes, I chose to do Liberty Falls, obviously, because a lot of people like Liberty Falls, but also I chose to do Haunted Havoc because it is by far the best LTM they've added to this game. And also, I just find you fly through the camo grind. In this last half a season, I've gone from no guns opal to getting this pretty much maxed out. I did not mean to get this camo, though. I do not like the Liberty Falls Pack-a-Punch camo. It is not very nice. So yeah, we had a couple of cool missions in the campaign, like the casino one. The casino one was really interesting, where you're doing the heist, which is, you know, that's new for Call of Duty. Like, you wouldn't go into Call of Duty expecting there to be a heist mission, you know? So if the Black Ops 7 campaign is anything like that in terms of gameplay, I think we're going to be in for a good year. It's if the story is disappointing again, that will upset me, because, you know, the Black Ops, especially with this being a sequel to Black Ops 2, what I would argue is the best campaign in in Call of Duty, maybe outclassed by Black Ops 1, but that really is a personal preference there. I know many of you might not know, or maybe you do, but Jack, he's a big Black Ops 1 campaign lover. I'm a big Black Ops 2 campaign lover. Like, I love Black Ops 2. I think it's probably the best game in the series. So, the fact that we have something that could come close to that, you know, it's meant to be the sequel to that, I am going to hold that to a higher standard, you know. So I'm going to expect not only a good story, I'm going to expect the good gameplay as well. The co-op could be fun. I will be doing co-op. But, again, looking at this game, my biggest issue with it is, and this goes for a lot of Call of Duties, they set up a good campaign, they set up an interesting story, and then it kind of stops right as it gets interesting, you know? Like, they just figured out who was the villain. They were like, there's more Pantheon agents, you're offline, go get them, soldiers. And then next thing you know, we are in a multiplayer season, and that is how the story's continuing through the multiplayer season. And unfortunately, the multiplayer season was kind of all over the place this year in terms of the storyline. So that's why I'm very disappointed Call of Duty doesn't do campaign exclusive DLC. I think campaign exclusive DLC would be a fantastic idea for Call of Duty. I think it would make a massive difference to the story as well if you were able to do campaign DLC throughout the seasons. And I think that is something that they could be looking at with the endgame mode. Really, we'll have to wait and see. I'm not really confident in speaking on the endgame mode until we see what it is, and apparently we're getting a deep dive on that today, so maybe I will know more by the end of this video, who knows. So yeah, my biggest issue with the campaign this year was the waste of characters. We wasted characters like Adler, and we didn't really do anything interesting with characters like Woods. It felt like kind of a cop-out to make the mole in the CIA that caused Alex Mason and Hudson's death to be a random character that we'd never heard of before. I don't know. There was just a lot about the reveals that was in that campaign didn't make a ton of sense to me, unfortunately. So, yeah, my final kind of review on the campaign is it was good in terms of gameplay. Story could have been much better, and I'm really hoping they take that on board with this Black Ops 6 because Black Ops 7, because that is a game I'm going to hold to a higher standard. And please, for the love of God, Treyarch, consider campaign DLC or free updates or something. Like, I know we're going to be roughly getting that with the addition of this new endgame mode, but I think campaign DLC would be massive for Call of Duty as a whole, to be honest. Ooh! Ooh! Alright, this should be Afterlife unlocked any second now. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now that we have Afterlife, we are going to go on to the next game, and we are going to talk about multiplayer. Alright, here we are. We are on the Tomb now, because many of you might not know, I actually love the Tomb. I think it's one of my favorite maps of, like, in a while. It's probably my most played map on this game. Maybe Reckoning comes close. Controversial opinion, and we will talk about it in the zombies section. As a zombies guy, the zombie section is going to be substantially longer than any of the other sections. But the multiplayer section will be quite substantial as well, so if you enjoy multiplayer, let's get talking about that now. So, starting off at the start of the year, the multiplayer, fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. The return of classic prestige, the weapon leveling, the camo grind, it was all there. It was all really, really enjoyable as well. It was a actually really good experience. I remember I actually played more multiplayer than I thought I would on that first weekend. I thought I'd just be playing zombies because, like, I am a massive zombies fan. But no, I was on multiplayer quite a bit. Just grinding on the normal 6v6 as well, not even on the stakeout map. What's it? What's it called? Face Off? And it was kind of after that initial weekend where everyone was playing, everyone was enjoying it, everyone was getting used to it, that we realized that the maps were actually really, really bad Now, we should have known from the beta, and I know some of us did know from the beta, like, that there was some bad maps. Like, Scud is one of the worst maps of all time. Protocol, I think it's called. Don't like that map either. There's a lot of really bad maps in this game. And that's, again, an unfortunate situation for the game to be in, because the multiplayer itself is fun. The gunplay is fun. The Omni movement is whatever. I'm not really skilled enough at multiplayer shooters in order to utilize Omni movement to its fullest. But it's a cool mechanic, and it is fun to mess around with. Like, even just to jump out windows and stuff like that, and using it as purely traversal, it's still an enjoyable experience. It's just, it would be nice to be able to utilize that in combat a bit more. But then we had what I would call the big disaster of this multiplayer, which would probably be in the face-off playlists. And you know what? I'm not dissing anyone that uses the face-off playlists to grind their camos or to just play the multiplayer, because I did it too, and there's a reason. It's really easy to go on streaks and feel like you are doing good in such small space multiplayer maps, because you're pretty much guaranteed a kill. You peek a corner, you're guaranteed a kill, maybe even 2, maybe even 3. So it makes sense that they kind of blew up, but I don't think it was healthy for the game overall. I think an increase into the 6v6 map pool would have been better. I think maybe Face-Off could have done as a 3v3 if you wanted small, close quarters combat. I think that would have been a better option than what we ended up getting with the current one, because honestly, we already have small map battles. We've Gunfight. Gunfight is... which is a whole other mode that I want to talk about, but like, we didn't need a whole expanse in terms of the small maps. Like, we could have just had Stakeout. You know the way Infinity Ward has Shipment, and I suppose Sledgehammer also has Shipment. They could have just made Stakeout as its own unique map and had that be the small map of this game. That and Nuketown. We didn't need them all to be tiny. But then we got maps like Bullet, and it just did not really do the game very well. Bullet, don't get me wrong, Bullet is a fantastic map for the gunfight mode. Fantastic in gunfight. I really like how Bullet plays in gunfight. I think it is specifically built for a game mode like that. It is not built for a 6v6 match, and the fact that it was allowed in the 6v6 playlist is still to this day kind of baffling to me. We also have like a weird map rotation. Like, it feels to me a lot of the maps were taken from Avalon. Well, we know a lot of the maps are based in Avalon because Treyarch says as much. But what it feels like to me is they had the Avalon big team battle multiplayer map from Warzone that they weren't going to get to use anymore. And they decided, let's just cut that up and create our multiplayer maps out of that. And it just doesn't work for me. A lot of them, you can kind of tell they're cut off from larger portions of a larger map, and they're just not designed with multiplayer in mind. They're designed with Warzone in mind, and Warzone plays very differently from traditional multiplayer. So that is another big issue. And then we have the astonishing, like, issue of delays in seasons. We had more delays in seasons. I can't believe it. We had delays in seasons again. I think nearly every season this year was delayed, which just should not happen. Then we had stuff like the remakes coming out at weird times. People have been looking for a Fringe remake for years. We finally get it, and they release it in, was it season 4? Reloaded? When most of the people weren't playing the game. And I understand, release them what people want and they'll come back to play the game. That clearly didn't work because, you know, I'm not doom and gloom. I'm not no, you know, doom and gloomer when it comes to COD. I like COD. I played pretty much all year, mainly for the zombies, but I did play pretty much all year. And I don't believe in using the Steam numbers. I know it's the only way we can accurately track, but I don't know. It's just COD is more of a console shooter, so I don't think it's fair to use the Steam numbers. It's weakest player base to determine whether it's a successful year or not. But so yeah, the release of Fringe in Season 4 Reloaded was just a bizarre decision. That should have came much earlier. That should have been one of the season 1 or 2 maps. We need to, I'm not saying front load the season so that you have nothing left, but them first 2 seasons are crucial. Like, do we remember the days of Modern Warfare 2 season 1 where it was shipment and shoot house, and that was it. That was the update. That was the update was shipment and shoot house. And I just don't like, people still mock that to this day. So keeping that kind of system going with Black Ops 6, I know we got more multiplayer maps, but I could not even tell you the maps that were in season 1. They're that forgettable, I couldn't tell you. The whole seasonal structure this year was shocking. We had shit like Fringe, season 4.5, and then we had the museum map, which was shocking. Like, half of the maps this year were dedicated to the face-off playlist, and they just didn't really play very well in standard 6v6. Like, some of them played better than others, don't get me wrong. Not all of them were hopeless. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think the experiment of face-off really worked, and I think the game would be better off without it. I know they're bringing it into next year's. I think they've made the map slightly bigger, which might work, but again, I would rather them just focus on the 6v6 playlist, because that is what a lot of people play COD for. I know there's some people that play the big team modes, nothing wrong with that, but the majority of people will play Call of Duty for the 6v6. The guns that got added, I have no problem with. The guns were absolutely fine. No problem from me there about any of the weapons. They were all the weapons added were completely fine. Nothing offensive whatsoever. I do want to talk quickly about the microtransactions and the battle passes. It feels to me like after season 2, the battle passes just went downhill. I have no idea what happened, but the battle passes just got significantly worse after the season 2 update. Like, we went from the first battle pass, which was pretty good, to the second battle pass, which was also pretty good, to, I'm assuming what happened is the milsim crowd scared them into making basic battle passes, and that is a pity, because you are paying for it. Why would you want what you are paying for to be worse? Now, I know that's, I suppose, subjective, because to everyone, they might not be worse. People might actually just prefer the milsim style, which is fair. To me, it was actively making the skins worse. I thought the subtle assassin approach was kind of cool. I don't think that went too outside the milsim kind of genre either. But then with season 3, we had really milsim skins. Season 4, same, and season 5, kind of the same as well. Then we finally got a decent battle pass with season 6, but of course we had carry forward cancel, which is just a baffling decision in and of itself. I cannot believe people are cheering for the loss of carry forward. That is crazy to me. We've basically given Activision permission to be so anti-consumer, and they're gonna run with it, and we've no one to blame but ourselves. Not me. I've been pro carry forward for years. I think it makes sense. All the games share the same engine. You paid for it, you should want it in the next game. With the exceptions, of course. Beavis and Butthead, ridiculous. Shouldn't be in the game. American Dad should be in the game. Well, American Dad actually could have worked as well if they didn't go with the fucking cartoon. Like, we don't want cartoons. I understand the not wanting cartoons. The cartoons just honestly was a baffling design decision. I don't know why they thought people would allow cartoons in the game. The power we have given these cartoons and the power we have given Activision by proxy is immense, and there is going to be fallout from this. There's going to be a lot of fallout. Activision has basically been given permission to run wild, and I believe they will wholeheartedly take it. Alright, we'll move on to the next gun. Alright, so we're going to continue again onto none other than the Reckoning, the final map. And I'm just going to finish off talking about the multiplayer, because I didn't actually finish what I was thinking. So we were talking about the microtransactions and how baffling they were, and how stuff like Beavis and Butthead has been given enormous power by the Call of Duty community to basically let Activision fuck us, and that's unfortunate. But it's also understandable in a way. Like, they are ridiculous skins. I think... I'm not even, like, against crossovers per se. My biggest thing is it should not change the art style of the game. The game is not a cartoon, so the skins should not be cartoons. Just in terms of the store overall, this year the amount of bundles versus unlockable items was insane. I think this year really crossed the threshold for me in terms of, this is a paid game. Why is there so much microtransactions in it? Like, I don't mind spending on a game I'm enjoying. So I bought some things here and there, but there was just so much. You know, I think you can have a take on this that can be nuanced. Obviously, Activision's a big company, but also they have Microsoft backing, and unfortunately, a lot of people are going to realize infinite growth is not really a thing. You can't grow infinitely, and the sooner these big companies realize that, the better. There is a cap, and there is eventually a point where the consumer will get pissed off and they will move on. So I think the sooner the companies realize that, the better. Now, the store was atrocious, as I've said, and it needs to change. There can't be... You should, as a premium customer, as a premium purchaser of Call of Duty, there should be ways, aside from the Battle Pass, to earn Call of Duty points to buy stuff in the store. It doesn't have to be enough to buy everything in the store, although that would be the ideal world, but there should be a way to earn COD points to buy items in the store. As I put forward in my Black Ops 7 Zombies wishlist video, and in my history of rewards and progression video, I talk about systems I think would massively improve the game by letting us unlock COD points and bundles. So yeah, I think the store went a bit off the rails, and I think the reason why it was so noticeable that the store went off the rails this year was the lack of good unlockable cosmetics elsewhere. Everywhere else in the game was filled with bad unlocks, no unlocks, and the events and seasonal events were just super lackluster. And that's another thing I just want to talk about real quickly before we move on to zombies. And that is the events, the camos, and the blueprints that were available within all of this. So all of the free rewards this year were beyond lackluster. I think the only ones I've really enjoyed are maybe one or two of the camos, and of which I think I've unlocked all of the ones that were available in this game, and I think I have a total of 6, including the Black Ops 7 pre-order, which I didn't pre-order. I have Game Pass, so it's not even... I didn't even get this from the pre-order. I got it from having Game Pass. So yeah, it's... The overall quality and quantity of the rewards has not been very good in this year's Call of Duty. Especially when you compare that to the Modern Warfare 3 of last year. What we have this year is just... It just does not cut it at all. And I know they've said already, and they've shown already, that they're going to massively be stepping this up in terms of Black Ops 7. But what we got here, not good enough. A lot of the events were also just boring. There was very little engagement in them. The quantity of the rewards, even in them lackluster events, are down from what was in Modern Warfare 3. Like, at least in Modern Warfare 3, the events were big. They were action-packed. There was stuff to do. There was often a lot of rewards in the events, even though a lot of them rewards were shit, like calling cards and emblems, and a lot of them cop-out rewards. We don't want calling cards. We don't want emblems. We want camos. We want operator skins, and we want weapon blueprints. You are a rich company, Activision. You can afford to give us... I am out of ammo. That is not good. Where is the ammo box? Give me that Pack-a-Punch. I love this Pack-a-Punch camo, by the way. I'm not sure if anyone else feels the same way, but I think this is one of the nicest Pack-a-Punch camo. And I mean specifically this tier. Like, the rest of it looks good as well, but this tier in particular is, like, I think, the magnum opus of the camos for it. It reminds me of a beach. It reminds me of a sunny beach. Yeah, so in terms of the multiplayer, that's pretty much my thoughts. We have a fairly decent launch and then an abysmal follow-up, and it killed the game's momentum, and it really can't happen again, unfortunately, because if it does, I think Call of Duty... I'm not, as I said, I'm not a doomer gloomer. I don't think Call of Duty will be dead because people don't play next year's COD. Call of Duty will be fine. But I think it will be unfortunate for a Black Ops game of such ambition, and it reminds me a lot of what happened going into Black Ops 4. It's a game with such ambition, it would be a shame to have that ambition cut short because of mismanagement. So yeah, we had lackluster events, over-saturation of the microtransaction store, and among a myriad of other things. Lackluster maps, lackluster guns, heavy focus on skill-based matchmaking was massive for some people. Doesn't necessarily bother me because I'm ass, but for a lot of people, that is a big negative, and it would be unfair not to mention it. Too much of a focus on brain rot face-off modes, some baffling design decisions about when they were releasing specific maps, unfortunately, and honestly, it was just a woefully handled year of premium support, unfortunately. The rest of it was fine. Like the core gameplay was fine. There was nothing wrong with any of the core gameplay, which is what makes it so much sadder that this is what happened to it, you know? I'd say it was probably one of the stronger entries in terms of core gameplay since Cold War, which was probably my last favorite, like, game for multiplayer. Like, that's the last Call of Duty game multiplayer I really, really enjoyed, was Cold War. And this was probably the closest to that, so, you know, it had some things going for it, but not enough, obviously. And we're gonna get talking about zombies once we get this last Afterlife camo. There we go, that's the final Afterlife camo. Next, we will move on to directed mode, and we are going to get Nebula. Alright, here we are. We are on to the final section of this video. We are going to be talking about zombies. We've got our beautiful Afterlife camo here. Afterlife is such a nice camo. It's like, when I saw it originally on the COD Next stream, I was like, oh my god, that is fucking hitting. Oh wait, yeah, direct mode has Easter egg turned off. I was like, oh my god, that camo is fucking disgusting. And then I actually unlocked it, and oh my god, it is actually beautiful. So yeah, I've never actually unlocked a mastery camo before. Well, like a full mastery camo. I've obviously unlocked gold, diamond, and stuff like that in multiplayer. But I've never unlocked anything above a diamond camo before, so having Afterlife is lovely, and then me being able to soon get Nebula is such a massive win for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the strat of just farming up the elites in the directed Liberty Falls by, you know, killing it over and over again. That's probably faster than any other method, and I'd like to get this done. So, now, talking about zombies, it's time to get on to my favorite part of this game and of any Call of Duty game, except for maybe Modern Warfare 3. I think maybe the multiplayer beats out on that. But we're going to talk about zombies. And this year's zombies, for me, was a massive success. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I thought it was an enjoyable experience. I thought a lot of the maps were brilliant. I thought a lot of the characters were good. I thought a lot of everything was brilliant. I really, really, really thoroughly enjoyed a lot of this year. Starting off, we have Liberty Falls. I'm going to talk about the maps a little bit. Liberty Falls is by far the worst map in this game, and that is not a negative. Liberty Falls is a perfectly fine map. As you can see, I done it for some of this camo grind. I mostly played the Tomb for the camo grind, to be completely honest, but I did do a little bit of Liberty Falls, because you know what, Liberty Falls, it's a perfectly fine survival map, and that's what it's going for, you know? Now, it is a pity that this and the Tomb took out of a full slot, but then again, you know, this was before we had survival map exclusives. So, like, we're in the next game, we're obviously going to be having survival maps. This is before that, and we can't really blame this game on something the next game does better, you know, because that's not fair. The next game wasn't a thing when this game existed. So, yeah, I'm going to say Liberty Falls is by far the worst. The lack of aura doesn't necessarily bother me because, like, we have some. Like, look, there's the Janus Towers over there, the Reckoning. There's this oil tanker on fire. And we have the church. Like, it's an aesthetically nice map, if not a bit bland. That's probably its biggest issue, is that it's a bit bland. And that is unfortunate. But then it is paired with Terminus, which is a fantastic map, with a fantastic boss fight at the end. And a fairly decent Easter egg. Not super complex, not really anything to write home about. But it's not bad either. Like, it's a perfectly fine Easter egg. Like, it's serviceable. But the boss fight really elevates Terminus. And the map design itself, the amount of side quests, also fantastic. Like, there is a lot to love about Terminus, and there's also a lot to love about Liberty Falls. There's also some fantastic side quests. We've got stuff like the jet gun, we've got Aetherella, we've got the Deadshot side quest, we've got Bolarama, we've got the looking over there at the dancing zombies and getting them to dance on top of the bus. There's a lot of really, really cool side quests in this map and in Terminus, and kind of in every map this year. I have to say, they've really stepped up the side quests, especially when you compare to that Black Ops Cold War. There was not many side quests until the final map, and they've really, really upped it here, and I can just hope that they keep that going. So yeah, I think Liberty Falls and Terminus are probably perfectly contrasting launch maps. We had one that is super, you know, expansive, then we had one that's kind of more subdued, more casual, and both of them really excel at what they try to do, you know? Terminus has the aura, Terminus has the vibes, Liberty Falls has the casual camo grind, and players like that sort. So really, they both do their own areas of interest very well. Moving on to the DLC season, we started off with Citadel of the Moor, which a lot of people compare to Der Eisendrache, and they give a lot of credit to Citadel of the Moor as one of the better maps on the game. And you know what? I'm not going to disagree. It's personally my most forgettable, though, unfortunately. Like, I can understand that it's, like, from a design standpoint and from a gameplay standpoint, a spectacular map, and it is, and it's good fun, and again, it has a fantastic boss fight. That's kind of something all of these maps have. They all have fantastic boss fights, but it just, for me, doesn't land. It does not stick the landing, unfortunately. I would much rather, if I'm going to play a hardcore map, I'd play Shattered Veil, I'd play Reckoning, I'd play Terminus, and if I'm going to play a casual map, I'd just play the Tomb. It's as simple as. Citadel of the Moor is really in the middle of all of this, and it is just unfortunate for Citadel of the Moor. The Wonder Weapons are an interesting take on the 4 Wonder Weapon concept, but I think it has been done better before, and I'm not even talking about the bows. I just think even the staves are kind of better than the swords, and I think that has a lot to do with how they ruined melee in this game. Melee has been kind of taken out back and shot, unfortunately. So yeah, we have that issue. But overall, Citadel of the Moor has a brilliant, brilliant boss fight that I think makes the map well worth playing. Next, I'd like to talk about the Tomb, the most misunderstood map in all of Zombies. My guy, the Tomb is so good. It does everything Liberty Falls does, but better. It has a better Easter egg, it has a better map, it has better aesthetics, it has a better design, it has better quest, it has even better characters because Liberty Falls has no characters. It literally has better than anything Liberty Falls can do. Yet Liberty Falls gets the praise as like the GOAT map of like camo grind and stuff like that. Like, people were glazing the fuck out of Liberty Falls when it first came out. I know that opinion has kind of changed now, but back when this map first came out, people were glazing it and dissing my boy the Tomb. I love the Tomb. It's my most played map on this game by far. I think it's brilliant. I think It has one of the coolest auras and atmospheres that we have seen in a zombies map in years. I mean years. We've got that awesome Neolithic temple. We've got the Dark Aether Heart. We've got so many cool places. I couldn't tell you anything about anywhere in Citadel no more because that map is visually bland. Liberty Falls, visually bland. Terminus, fair enough. Terminus looks good. But compare that to the Tomb, and I don't know, I think even visually, aesthetically, the Tomb wins out, probably even on Terminus. Which is a wild thing to say, because obviously, you know, Terminus is the GOAT map for a lot of people on this game. So, it might be weird to hear me say that, but no, genuinely, I think it is possible that the Tomb beats out Terminus on the aesthetics front. Oh, it wants me to search for clues. I think I'm ahead of the Easter egg, bro. We need a Mangler to spawn in before we can open up the next section, so I'm gonna go up and try to get the Gravedigger to spawn in. Wow, I am absolutely... Every time I look at Afterlife, it looks cooler than the last. So yeah, the Tomb is a misunderstood map with, again, a brilliant boss fight. This was not just a DPS damage check. This was mechanics. This had phases. This was a tough boss that required your full attention. You couldn't brain rot your way through the Tomb boss fight. At least at the start. Now, the Tomb boss fight is exceptionally easy. But that kind of comes with any game. Towards the end of the life cycle, with the reintroduction of perks, new weapons and stuff like that, that's going to happen. I'm not going to hold that against the Tomb. But overall, I think the Tomb is a fantastic, misunderstood gem of a map that people really need to stop dissing. Shattered Veil is also fantastic. That is probably the most classic of a classic zombies map, a classic Easter egg. You have the Ray Gun Mark II, the Wonder Wolf, all making its return. All of these classic features making their return. And, you know, it has that classic design element. And you know what? I'm going to say it. I don't believe this was a Warzone map first. I believe they turned it into a Warzone map later. I don't believe this was ever designed as a Warzone map. I believe them when they said all of these maps were designed fresh. Because it would be a stupid thing to lie about. Because if they were caught lying, they would easily be exposed. People hate Call of Duty, so that shit would be exposed in an instant. Then moving on from Shattered Veil, which again... Oh, hang on. Before we move on, I have to mention the fantastic boss fight against a literal zombie T-Rex. I know it's not as mechanically complex as some of the other ones. It's more of a DPS check, a traditional boss fight. But if you compare that to any of the boss fights, even back as far as Black Ops 3... Bro, there's a T-Rex. We're fighting a zombie T-Rex. Like, there's nothing you can say to convince me that is not one of the coolest things you have ever seen. And that is just the truth of the matter, unfortunately, for haters out there, or Black Ops 3 fanboys. Black Ops 6 really did excel at the boss fight front. That I don't think anyone could agree with if they have a brain. Because even, like, if you say, oh, but they're just damage checks, a lot of the classic boss fights were also just damage checks. That's, like, it was the exact same back then as well. So yeah, we had the Z-Rex, we had a fantastic map with the return of Double Tap as well. I'm going to get into all that in a separate section towards the end though. But yeah, so moving on then to the Reckoning. And oh my goodness, I love the Reckoning. On launch, I think I played this map close to maybe 50-60 times in that first week. It is the most I've done an Easter egg as well, except for maybe the Tomb and Liberty Falls, because I play them so fucking often. But I have done that map's Easter egg so much. Love the Reckoning. The Reckoning is one of the best modern zombies maps that I've seen. And people dissing it really upsets me. I understand dissing it from a story perspective, I suppose. But I adore the Reckoning. I think it has such a good vibe. It has a really cool wonder weapon. It has a really cool wonder weapon quest. It has a really cool main quest. It has one great final boss and one bullet sponge motherfucker. Not even bullet sponge. One bullshit DPS fucking sink, which is Richtofen. I don't like the Richtofen boss. I'm a much bigger fan of the Sand boss. But look, I'm very much impressed by what we got in terms of overall map quality. I think there's very few stinkers, if any. I think Liberty Falls is the closest we have to a stinker, but even at that, I don't think it is that much of a stinker. I just think it's a bit more simple, and that's what it's trying to do. So can we really give out to it for succeeding at what it's trying to do? It's trying to be a simple map. It is a simple map. Is it really our place to diss the map for being simple? I don't think so. I think if that's what the map set out to do, and that's what it did successfully. Next, I would like to move on to some of the critiques that this game takes from Cold War. Starting with the crew. Not the best crew, but at least we have a crew, and it is a step in the right direction. I can only hope that once Black Ops 7 comes around, and I'm pretty sure the writer's strike and the voice actor strike is over. I think they reached some sort of an agreement. I'm not sure. I just haven't heard anything about it in a while, so I'm assuming it's over. If it's not, I apologize for getting that wrong, and Activision, pay your voice actors and give them the AI protections that they're looking for. I think that's just common decency and common sense. But with that over, I'm hoping we can get a nice look at some new dialogue lines for the characters. We have the GOAT William Peck back as well. I love William Peck. Best character ever introduced. I love him. He does his little dance. He does his little jig. He says, "Oh, I am Dr. Peck." Grr. All them funny things. And he's really cool. So yeah, we have Peck. And we also have the dedicated crew, which consists of Maya, Weaver, Gray, and Carver. Carver does very little throughout the entire storyline. Well, I'm not sure if on the maps he might have quotes, because I play a lot of solo. Of course I do it with Flan and Jack sometimes, but Flan plays Maya, I play Weaver, and I don't know who. I think Jack plays John Black Ops or something, or like the Wizard. So I play Carver mostly in solo lobbies, and a lot of the quotes don't really do anything to progress the story. So I'm not sure if he does have story importance or not, but in the cutscenes, he does nothing. In the cutscenes, I don't think Gray speaks after the first cutscene in Terminus. Weaver does more talking than most, but even at that, it's not great. This is like Weaver's story, and the rest are just like side characters, unfortunately. Which is unfortunate, because they're all really interesting characters, and they're not being given the chance to shine like the original characters are. And now we're just bringing the original characters back, and that is unfortunate. That is one of my bigger criticisms of this game, is that they just didn't give the characters a chance to shine before resorting to the nostalgia bait switch, you know? Like, if they'd given these characters the best chance and people still didn't like them, and then they brought back the original characters, fair enough, but they didn't, and now they just brought back the original characters either way, and a Mangler's not fucking spawning, so you know what. Maya is a great character that gets a lot of development on the first two maps and then does nothing. So that's kind of how this story goes. The characters will get like a map or two and then they do very little, whereas at least in the olden Zombies days, even if a character did little on a map, like, you know, each character had their own map on Black Ops 3, they would still interact in ways that made the character feel like it was important to the story. Whereas, unfortunately, in Black Ops 6, the characters just feel like afterthoughts in their own story. Which is just an unfortunate revelation of the voice actor strike, I'm going to assume. Or maybe Treyarch just can't write the characters anymore. I don't know. It's not really my place to say. But it's unfortunate what happens. And then we have to talk about the atrocity that is Richthofen. The whole story set up about finding Richthofen, and then we find him on the second last map, and then we could just potentially kill him on the next map. Which is just crazy to me, that we could just kill him. We could just kill him on the next map. Right, please give me the Mangler. Please give me the Mangler. I do not want the other guy. What's his name? The sprinty guy. I don't know why I'm forgetting this guy's name. The Abomination. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. And I'm gonna need pack 2 by the looks of it. This is not doing the damage that I was hoping it would do. What's this guy's name? Yevitile, is it? please. I just need one zombie. Thank you. Oh my god, I'm getting my shit kicked in here. I probably could just upgrade this weapons tier, but... Right, there we go. Let me just check to make sure that's still tracking and they haven't patched it. So yeah, we've covered the side quests, we've covered the main quests, we've covered a lot of the content that came with this year's zombies. We've covered the characters, we've covered the maps, and all of this is a massive improvement over what came in Cold War, I would argue. And this has come from someone who I really liked Cold War. Cold War was a really good game, in my opinion. But what we have here is a massive improvement, and honestly, I think if Black Ops 7 Zombies is near a fraction as good, we're in for a good year. I'm hoping that we keep taking the things that we've done well in this year and improving on them in Black Ops 7. There we go. That's 2 done. I can't believe I'm going to get Nebula. Next, I do want to quickly talk about Pack-a-Punch camos, because it's to do with zombies. I think this year we had some brilliant Pack-a-Punch camos. We started off with not a great one in Liberty Falls, but I think every map after this had a really, really nice Pack-a-Punch camo, and I think it makes a big, big difference to the game when we have nice Pack-a-Punch camos, you know? And I think the camo grind was great. I think Nebula is a beautiful camo. I think Afterlife is one of my favorite tier 3 camos. My biggest issue is that we do have to do that extra additional challenge after we complete Nebula in order to... After we complete Afterlife in order to unlock Nebula, we should just get a base. And thankfully they are fixing that in the next game. But overall, I really, really enjoyed Black Ops 6 Zombies. I think the biggest issue I had with it is the LTMs were a tragedy. The LTMs and the characters and the story overall was just not good. The story left a fair bit to be desired, and hopefully Black Ops 7 can fix what is broken here and bring us back to the days where the zombie story was probably the best story in COD instead of it being an afterthought. And hopefully Activision realizes that people like the zombies. They like zombies. Like, there's people like me that might just play the game specifically for zombies. I don't play this game for multiplayer. Yeah, I like the multiplayer, but I don't play it for multiplayer. I will play the multiplayer, but I buy the game for zombies, and hopefully they realize there are people like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep grinding up this camo, and we're just going to do a bit of a Nebula montage. If I think of anything else I want to say about the game, I will. This was a unofficial review, so really, for the most part, I think I got what I wanted to say. This was unscripted, of course. I didn't even have a notebook. I was just kind of playing and getting this off the top of my head. So hopefully it was legible. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a comment and a like and a subscribe. And if I think of anything else to say, the video will be longer. This is the last one here, and I can't think of any better way to end out this year's zombie saga than getting the Zombies Mastery camo for the first time ever. You know I've worked on other camos before, like the ones in Cold War and stuff, but I've never gotten them, so I can't think of a better way to usher in Black Ops 7 than my final video, the day before Black Ops 7 goes live, be getting Nebula. And there we are. Look at that. Unlock the Nebula weapon camo. Isn't that brilliant? And I got it for the best weapon in the game. I don't know if it's like statistically the best weapon in the game, but a lot of people use it. It's definitely the best for bosses and Easter eggs and just clearing out zombies, to be honest. Alright. So Nebula is a beautiful camo, and I will of course show it off. But I also want to get Nebula on my second favorite gun. My original favorite gun. This was the first gun I loved when I played Black Ops 6 Zombies. And this is the Tanto. I am of course using the Mastercraft that came with the Season 6 Battle Pass. But I want to get that as well. And then we will have a look at what our Nebula looks like. So we're going to go back to the montage. But yeah, what a way to usher in and out a new era of zombies. Oh, I didn't even realize. I thought we had one more to go. There we go. Look at that. Nebula for 2 guns. That is crazy. Right after I fully packed punch this as well. Things you'd love to see. Right, let's go into a game and have a look at this. Send off Black Ops 6 correctly. Alright, let's stick this bad boy on. Oh, there it is. Alright, can't wait to see this in game. What a way to end the year. What a way to end the year. Let's go Liberty Falls so we can get a nice bright map. Actually, no, you know what? We haven't done Terminus. Let's just do Terminus. We'll load into Terminus. And here we have it. The whole year led to this moment. Look at that. Look at this. Beautiful camo. Oh my goodness. I can finally say I'm a true zombie head. I got the mastery camo. Let's get this thing heated up and then inspect. Oh, look at that beautiful camo. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so that was basically my unscripted review of Black Ops 6. Of course, there will be a full scripted review at some stage when I go back to doing scripted reviews. If you did enjoy, leave a like, comment, and a subscribe, as we are aiming for 1,000 now, since we recently hit 750. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video, whatever it is. Black Ops 7, maybe history of, who knows. I will see you all then.